This is Today in St. Louis, focused on you.
We are starting out this Monday morning with a live look at Busch Stadium, where of course it's all quiet because the Cardinals are on the road until next month. They're enjoying sunny California. They'll be playing in San Francisco tonight. Meanwhile, here in town, it is not baseball weather. It's downright chilly outside, everybody. Good morning. Yeah, it's a Monday, April 24th. I'm Rennie Knott.
And I'm Michelle Lee. Of course, we just want to say thanks for joining us, including those of you who might be watching us on 5+. Wish we could fast forward through this forecast.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I got a lot of complaints this weekend from folks
Let's
here,
pile
there,
it on.
everywhere. Yeah.
No,
But it's Monday and the complaint hotline's actually closed today.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
so sorry. We're not taking any of those. We'll have to deal with it and suffer. Yeah. This morning the numbers have fallen below freezing, but I will say some good news. Usually this is the time of year, once we get into May and into past Mother's Day, that the frost and freeze becomes a thing of the past now. So this may be it when it comes to having to bring in those plants and put them back out and do it all over again. So area-wide frost and freeze across the area. You can see the numbers in the 20s and 30s. Chesterfield, for instance, you're down to 27. Farmington at 29. It is 31 in Alton and 33 in Sparta. So the day ahead will be sunny, but we're getting plenty of sun right now, and we will have it for the day ahead. Just numbers on the cool side, about 5 to 10 degrees below average for today. Now, as we go through the next few days, we are tracking some rain. That should arrive by Thursday. We'll go over the details for that and the weekend coming up. Let's get over to Paul Cook, Track the Roads this morning. Paul, what is it looking like on the area roadways?
Well, Anthony, I think you're going to like what you see out there moving right along. This can be heavily congested. 40 at 141 Chesterfield area moving very, very well. I also want to just go ahead and take a look at what's going on our big map, or maybe just take my word for it. I did drop my clicker and then kick it into the other room. Okay, yes, there it is. We do have a little bit of construction. This is at Gravois and Merrimack, and then there's the big map. We'll talk more traffic. I won't fumble the clicker coming up very soon right here.
All right, thanks so much, Paul. We are following some breaking news this morning. This is out of St. Charles County. A police officer shot and killed a man who ran from a traffic stop.
Now, this happened overnight in Weldon Spring, and that's where we find our Sydney Stallworth for us this morning. Now, Sydney, you've been talking to police all morning long. What more are they telling you about this deadly shooting?
Well, Rennie and Michelle, this morning we do know one man is dead after he was shot by St. Charles County Police just after 12:35 this morning. I spoke with you all a half hour ago, and around that time, this area was completely filled with investigators and evidence markers as they were starting this investigation. Now, we do know that there were two people inside of a car. At one point, police were interacting with these people, trying to identify them. That's when the passenger in the car, a man, got out of the car, ran from police, and at one point pulled out a gun. So I want to walk you through how this has happened. According to St. Charles County Police Department, they tell me that around 12:35 a.m., two St. Charles County police officers were parked in a nearby driveway patrolling. That's when a vehicle pulled up next to them, two people inside that car. Police say those two began to ask the officers questions and directions. Officers exited their vehicles to approach the car. Now, St. Charles County Police Department tells me that because the car was coming from an empty parking lot with no open businesses at the time, officers started asking the individuals for some ID. That's when the passenger got out of the car, a white male in his 40s, and ran from police. I'm told that at one point officers partially apprehended him not far from the vehicle that he ran from, but police say the man resisted and he was able to slightly free himself enough to pull out a weapon. Police tell me only one officer shot the man who pulled out the gun, and they also say that officers administered first aid until an ambulance was able to come here to the scene and take that man to the hospital. But once that man was taken to the hospital, he was pronounced dead at that time. Now, I spoke with St. Charles County police officer, even live just about an hour ago, about this situation, what led up to it. Now, we do know that there is an ongoing investigation at this time. They did say that they did recover a firearm from the scene that they say belonged to the man who ran from police. I asked about the driver in this situation. They say that that person never exited the vehicle and is currently at the nearby police department answering questions and cooperating with this investigation. They also couldn't tell me how many shots were fired in this encounter. That's the very latest we have from Weldon Spring. I'm Sydney Stallworth, 5 on your side.
Thanks so much, Sydney. Okay, we're going to be staying on top of this story all morning long on the air and online. And then once we learn new information about the shooting, we will bring it to you as soon as we can.
The time right now is 6:06. And just hours from now, another court hearing will be involving St. Louis City Circuit Attorney Kim Gardner, this time to address why someone from her office failed to show up for a murder trial.
Now, this actually comes after a judge threatened jail time or a fine for contempt of court just 1 week ago today. And Alex Feast is joining us live this morning downtown with Gardner's response. Alex?
Michelle and Rennie, good morning. We are now seeing evidence from the Gardner camp explaining why she believes she is not responsible for the fact that an assistant prosecutor did not show up in court on the first day of that murder trial. Now, a series of text messages were submitted on Gardner's behalf, suggesting her office communicated with an assistant circuit attorney who was originally assigned to the case. Now, in Gardner's most recent court filing, she claims attorney Alex Pulta was assigned to the case and took an abrupt leave of absence on April 6, saying in a text message to another attorney, quote, "I have no trials, hearings, or depositions in the next 5 weeks." That attorney responded to Pulta about the case in question, saying, "Lastly, you have 4 trial settings on for the week of April 17th. Are any of these cases likely to be called out?" Pulta then responded, saying it is no longer his problem. Gardner's defense claims she did not willfully cause the assigned counsel to fail to appear. The case in question involves Jonathan Jones, accused of shooting and killing Brandon Scott, who crashed his car on the Arch grounds in September of 2021. 5 on Your Side trial analyst Scott Rosenblum says this filing shows Gardner continues to blame other people.
You're the leader. You don't, that's not leading by pointing the finger at your subordinates. If anything, she should have known, and she's a lawyer, step up and try the case. If somebody didn't show up in my office and it was a case that was being handled by my office, we would have been there.
This was not set for a counsel status hearing or some kind of update hearing. It was set for a trial, and she didn't even show up to court.
Now, according to the document, Gardner's office has asked Pulta to come to the hearing today. If the judge does decide to hold them in contempt of court, they could face a fine or even jail time as a result. Pulta told 5 on Your Side recently that he is considering running against Gardner, who has already said she plans to run for re-election next year in 2024. Now, coming up at the bottom of the hour, we'll hear from a political analyst who will discuss the likelihood of Gardner being re-elected. Live this morning downtown, Alex Fees, 5 on Your Side.
Thank you, Alex. Right now, the St. Charles County Council is preparing to vote on a new prosecuting attorney. Last week, the county executive appointed Joe McCullough for the job. He served as the assistant prosecuting attorney in the county as well as a municipal judge. The council votes tonight, and if he is approved, McCullough would be sworn in on May the 1st.
Well, happening today, St. Louis city leaders are working on finalizing the 2024 budget. Right now, it is a $1.3 billion budget. That amount is a 7.1% increase compared to last year. Police are getting 5.5% increases, and the circuit attorney's office is getting an extra 1.8%. Now, this budget relies a lot less on the federal government.
Last year's budget, we had $19 million in ARPA funds that we had added. Well, of course, we're not doing that this year because all those funds have been appropriated.
Well, if the Board of Estimates and Apportionment approves the budget, it will be sent to the Board of Aldermen for a vote. The budget will take effect on July the 1st.
Well, Michelle, this morning we are waking up in a weather alert because of the frost and freeze we have area-wide. Now, this may be it when it comes to our frost and freeze for the season. Usually once we get into May, our pattern turns warmer, and I think it will after this weekend. But in the short term, we're watching a system that's going to slide off the Rockies this morning, and as it slides our direction between now and Thursday, we'll have a mix of sun and clouds around. You may get a little sprinkle tomorrow with extra cloud cover, but I don't think it'll be much. Once we get into Wednesday, most of that will be to our south. And then by Wednesday night and Thursday, showers will start to kick up from the south. So Thursday is the next day we'll have showers develop. In the meantime, we'll have cool mornings and cool afternoons. 40s will do it for morning temperatures beginning tomorrow, and then 60s through the end of the week. As mentioned, the weekend is cool and damp. We'll track that weekend forecast in the extended outlook in just a few minutes.
It's going to lose a giant load of entertainment. They'll be missed.
Honoring a St. Louis musician, how the community is mourning the loss of a man killed in a fire in Soulard.
What is the court going to do to bring its standards of ethics up to the level even of other courts in this country?
A question of ethics, how senators from Missouri and Illinois could play a part in an ethics overhaul in the Supreme Court.